All right, welcome back to the PKUK podcast. We got the Down Under special today. We've got Fletcher Hansen all the way from Sydney, Australia, also known as FletchFlips, in the building, and we're gonna rattle off some Australian parkour banter. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm also from Sydney, Australia, despite the fact that I'm here doing this. So if my accent goes a little bit more down under, apologies. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Fletch.
Of course, man. I'm really happy to be here. I appreciate you asking me to come on, and definitely, without a doubt, I'll come on, fellow Aussie.
My guy. So we'll start. We usually start. How'd you get started in our lovely sport of parkour?
Well, I got started through trampolining. So I started sort of on the trampoline in my backyard. We had one when I was growing up. You know, would go to like caravan parks and things like that. There'd be jumping pillows there. So I was always doing
jumping
flips.
what?
Jumping pillows.
Oh,
You remember
right.
those?
Yeah.
I don't know if the UK has them, but we got heaps of them back home.
Yeah, like the massive kind of like airbag things that you find in playgrounds, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
they do. I've seen James West, YOLO Flow do some madnesses on those.
Yeah. Almost all of them have branded on the side, do not do somersaults off of this. So I was a bit of a rebel from a young age. I was, just
Straight
rules.
bad man. Yeah.
So that's how I sort of got involved in movement early on in life. And then through YouTube and social media, I found that people were doing it on ground, and not only on the ground, but doing it off stuff and off obstacles and things like that. So naturally, I thought that was pretty wicked, and I just tried it myself in my backyard, and the rest is history. I found certain channels like Team Farang. And
When was this? Like, when did you start taking an interest in like parkour as opposed to, trampolines and that?
Would have been around 2015, 2016. So
Okay.
I'm fairly new.
Yeah.
Fairly new. Always was doing flips and things like that.
Well, that's still 10 years.
When I say
2025 right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really count it as much because when I started, it was only really, back handspring, a back flip, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But really being involved in the community, staying up to date with people, meeting new people, and being involved in the Sydney community, because I'm from Sydney, that was more or less, 9 years ago when I started.
Wow. But you're from like a bit out of Sydney. So when did you start actively like coming in and training with everyone?
Whenever my parents had the time to drive me in.
Yeah, fair enough.
The exact dates, a little bit shady on, but I do remember all I wanted to do was just train with people that were like me, because I live about 45 minutes southwest of Sydney. So I'm not exactly in the CBD as such. So for me to come out to a training session, even nowadays, is quite the effort. So when I'm out, I'm out. So I'd like to train as much as I can.
Get the most done, yeah. So we talk a lot about like what makes a good community on this podcast, and we talk a lot about the London community because obviously the podcast is hosted in London.
Yeah.
We got XXL here. There's cool stuff happening. But what was the community like in Sydney back then 9 years ago? And maybe we can compare it to today, because I've always been very proud of the Sydney community, which is really where I started like really getting into my parkour. We've had for more than maybe 15 years, there's been a jam on the first Saturday of every month in Sydney, still to this day.
Yeah.
And we've the community's gone through phases, but I think it's a really strong community. So what was it like for you as like your first contact point 9 years ago, linking up with the Sydney community? How'd you find it?
I found it difficult at first because, you come into this group of people that they already know each other.
Yep.
They already know, how many siblings you have. They've already met parents of friends, and everyone's all interconnected already. I strive to just want to be a part of that. So I went out of my way to make it to every monthly jam that was held. Like you were talking about, the first Saturday of every single month,
Yep.
there was a monthly jam, which still happens to this day. I made an effort to try and include myself within the community, and now I'm proud to say that I am a part of it. And when I first started, I could tell that there's history here, history that I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So
Everyone, to be fair, it's quite a close community. People know each other quite well. They're
Most
good
certainly.
friends outside of it. Like a lot of people who don't actively train are still quite close, because that is almost one of my criticisms of, let's say, the London community. with like notable exceptions of different groups, I don't think people are that close outside of training. Like you've got some people that are, but it's often it's just like train and then go home and come back, and there's certain social things now and then. Where some communities, I feel like maybe in the UK, Bristol, Brighton and stuff, is really much more of a social community. Like they're going to go and meet up, and not like in non-parkour settings, and really are just like a really strong group of friends. So I guess you felt that, because we've got like some proper OGs in the Sydney community. The biggest name that comes to mind, we're still training, is Ish. Ista Ho, that's his like full name, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I
So
just know him as Mr. Novel Ways.
exactly. So Novel Ways, for anyone that doesn't know, you probably will know if, now when I explain it, is a parkour clothing brand from Sydney with Reach Escape as their like main thing that they have on a lot of their products. So any old parkour videos, you go back and see that. And a lot of people didn't know that he came from Sydney. But someone like that, an OG like that, because he's still out today, right?
Yeah. He does still train. He does still train. He's had his fair share of injuries, and as he's getting older, I think he's 40 plus now. He's of age, yes.
Wow.
40 plus now of age.
Wow.
And he's got a wife. He's got responsibilities outside of parkour, but is still embedded within it.
I see him commenting on like all people's posts from all around the world. Like, so what was it like when there are people like that around, proper OGs, like a really established community? How did you find like integrating in that?
With someone specifically like Ish, he'll always welcome anyone.
Yeah.
It was always welcoming, which I think is quite similar to how the UK run it, where if you're new to the sport, everyone will jump at the opportunity to try and give you a platform to learn to the best of your abilities. They'll always try and support you, and I felt like I had support through not only the challenges that I was attempting at the time, but when I hurt myself as well, there was a lot of support coming from the Sydney community there. And I just
How so? Like when you hurt yourself, like what kind of support? That's super awesome to hear. Like what, just people messaging you, or
going out of their way to check up on me.
Yeah, wow.
Which is a big thing, because there's
you don't get that everywhere. Yeah.
No, you don't. But I'm really lucky to have Sydney Parkour as a base, as my home, especially since I've been traveling for a majority of this year. I've seen other communities. It does make, not to say that they're bad, but it just makes me appreciate what I have back at home. I
think it's one of the strongest ones. Like, and when I came home for the first time in 5 years, 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, I hadn't been home for 5 years. I went back, and it was like I'd never left. Like, it was great. Like, I was there for New Year's, and they invited me out for like just a social thing there, and it was like we're still so close with everyone. Everyone's still. I felt like the community still really like accepted and like loved me as a person. We all still really got on, and it was sick, to be honest. So being part of that is really beautiful. And then when you get that kind of support, like, well, an example here, we had Bo on the podcast. Do you know of Bo?
I listened to that podcast. I knew of him as well through people just chatting about him.
Yeah, so he's a legend, right? Back in the day, but the community really came together and supported him when he couldn't work because of the injury.
Yeah, they raised money for him.
Yeah, they raised quite a bit of money for him, not for medical expenses, like he went through the NHS, but just because he couldn't work for like 6 odd months.
Yeah.
So no, that was awesome. That's super cool thing to hear. And how do you feel like it's changed or developed over the years? Purely because because I didn't meet you, I think, when you were starting. I was just maybe leaving to go overseas at the time. And the community back then was like, for me, so many people, so welcoming. You get like sometimes 50 to 100 people out at a Saturday jam. But maybe the skill level wasn't as high. It was a bit more casual community, a few people really pushing it. And recently I've seen like there's a core group that are really pushing the high level stuff, as well as having this welcoming community. So I guess, how do you feel like it's changed or developed over the 9 years, and what was better about then, or what's better about now? Like, what makes it good?
How it's developed over time.
Yeah.
It definitely dropped off.
In terms of like quantity of people.
In terms of people participating.
Yeah.
And the consistency in that regard. And I can vouch for that. I can say that because I more or less tried to make it out to every possible thing that I could. So I know that the numbers dwindled. But within the last 2 years, there's been an uptick of people consistently coming out, rather than, familiar faces, but dotted around throughout the year, through the months and things like that. Most notably at the monthly jams, that's when the most people come out. But on weekend training sessions, we have consistent numbers now, which is really good. We also have people that are sort of moving out of the actual training vibe and actually more into the back end type of work that's necessary to build a community. So
that's awesome, because that's what we have with XXL here, and it's so unique and it's so like amazing to have. So how does that form in Sydney?
So that, I think it just naturally forms over time when you have the right amount of passionate people. So at the moment, the names that come to mind are Carl and Alex Robinson, who both in their own rights have been training in Sydney for a very, very long time. 15 plus years, both combined. Both of them.
People might know of Carl if they know some old school Dom Tomato videos, because he was in Crew 420 Parkour and then Crew 42, Dom's like first team. So if you know some earlier videos, Carl's a proper OG of Sydney, and then Alex has also been training for about that long.
Yeah, for a long time as well. Alex was a part of Jump Squad, which is a very, very old school, like, like we're talking way back.
So if you look at the old Team Farang videos, like Sean Wood, those guys, they were like even a bit of Anna, they were training at Jump Squad, which was the first ever parkour gym in Australia, I believe.
Yep.
And then it closed, and then not long after it closed, Apes opened up with some of the equipment. When you're wearing the Apes shirt,
represent.
Yeah, exactly. Represent. yeah. I used to work at Apes. Dom used to be sponsored by Apes and teach there a bit. And it's like the one last surviving parkour gym in Sydney. It's the only one, right? Or?
Yeah, it's the last one that purely just
parkour. Yeah.
Advertises parkour classes. Yeah.
Cool.
It's the last one that doesn't have like a joint compound to it. You know, like it doesn't offer other things like martial art. Like there's a couple of other gyms that have a parkour section, but they predominantly get most of their money from martial arts and other things
which is understandable, and that's how Apes started. Apes actually stands for the Australian Academy of Parkour Exercise and Self-Defense. And JP started through that and then moved just into parkour. But not to get sidetracked too much, so you've got Carl and Alex, like what are they doing to help build the community?
So Alex runs his own organisation called Conquest Parkour, who runs sort of youth activation clinics all around Sydney, and is actually working quite closely with councils to bring parkour pop-up shops for parents to bring their kids along, where the council will actually pay for that, and it's a non-profit sort of ticketed system where the kids can come in and go to different stations and really just smash out a whole bunch of really basic level parkour skills. So he'll have himself, Alex, and probably 4 or 5 different coaches at different stations, and the parents will come through, bring their kids through, and sort of let them run wild. And it's really cool to see. He had one in Darling Harbour, which is right in the city centre of Sydney. Like if you're going to hold an event anywhere, and big artists do it as well, you hold it at this convention centre, and he managed to score that one, which is a pretty big deal.
Oh, he had it at the convention centre in Sydney?
Next to it, like out the front of the ICC.
Oh, wow. Which is
like that big grass area.
Okay, the equivalent would be the XL here in London, but it's like the big convention centre in Sydney. It's a far more beautiful place than the XL in London with the harbour and everything. But that's brilliant. Like, we need more stuff like that, because that's just that first step to get, it's a great day out for most of the kids. And then some of them might make their way into a parkour gym or actually get into the sport.
That's literally what I was just about to say as well. And that's where Carl comes in. So, Carl works closely with Alex as well as one of the coaches on the workshops, but also Carl is very much the man behind Sydney Parkour at the moment in terms of the events that are coming up, organising the jams, and making it a lot more legit and
because I remember
user-friendly.
When I was last in Oz, he was talking about like, all right, we're going to level up the monthly jams. It's not just going to be like, we'll go out and train. It's like, because for years it's just been like a monthly jam, and then maybe there were 2 theme ones. Like we got the Grey Man Jam once a year, which you got to wear as much grey as possible, and there's a winner, and then the Halloween Jam where we go dressed up. But almost every month now, it seems like there's almost a competition or a theme, or we're going to do water challenges, or the problem is, of course, whenever they do host a competition, you win. So, someone else needs to step in there. You've won them all, mate.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, brilliant.
I'd much rather just participate than not.
No, I'm joking,
I can't
of
help
course.
but participate, you know?
No, of course, bro, of course. But yeah, so he's putting together basically is there a theme every Saturday? Like, how are the monthly jams formed at the moment?
So, actually, on that too, which sort of ties back into the Super Double XL that you had on the other week.
Yep.
I watched that podcast, and one of our boys, Jaden, came over here last year and attended one of those Super Double XLs, and he's actually replicated it in Sydney. So now it's called Jaden Jams.
Yeah.
So every single Saturday at 12 p.m. on the dot, he chooses a location and he'll be there no matter what. So very, very similar to what Super does, and I believe he would like to make vlogs as well. Similar to Super.
So that is the beautiful thing with Super is the vlogs. Yeah. That's the
That's
thing.
how I found them. I found them on my YouTube
Yeah.
recommended. Super Double XL came up. And I want to go to one while I'm here, even if I'm cooked.
Yeah, we'll go on Sunday. Like, so I mean, I'm probably injured as well. We'll socialize.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
But it is cool how, even though that may seem like a localized thing, like the people that are organizing that might not think it's making that much of an impact. Maybe in the local community, yes, for sure, without a doubt. But it's translated itself over into Sydney. So good job, Super.
Yeah, good job, Supers. We thought we were killing it with the once-a-month Saturday jams, but every Saturday Super does it, and now Jaden's taking it upon himself. I just hope he can spread himself maybe a bit more thin over a few more people, because the way XXL's managed to sustain it as well is they've grown their team a bit. So they have like a few organisers that are kind of there, because if it all hinges on one person, it's hard to maintain. But like, I don't actually know Jaden personally, but man, big ups, because that's awesome that's happening, and that he's really pushing it. And what kind of numbers do those jams get?
He's been running them. This is a recent thing. He's been running them for about, I want to say, 6 weeks now.
Okay, yeah.
So still fairly recent, and the participation can be anywhere from 10 to 15 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's growing. Like, XXL for years was like really small numbers, and it's sort of quite a casual community, and a lot of the rest of the community looked at them like, oh, like, I don't want to train with those guys, like I'm too cool for that. And then slowly it grew and grew and grew, and now they're like, that's where everyone goes to train. It's amazing. They've got the vlogs, and the thing that I always harp on about is the awards as well. They have once a year, and because they have all this vlog footage, they have footage for all the nominees, and it's a beautiful event. So that's sick that he's starting it. It'd be cool to get to that level and working with people like Carl and that. Like, yeah, that's awesome. So do you feel like despite smaller participation numbers, do you feel like the community's in a better place now?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And how many would you get at like a monthly jam?
At a monthly jam, man, we could get up to probably 40 people.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a guarantee that it's almost like FOMO. There's a guarantee that there's going to be people out, right? Yeah, that's brilliant. Because the thing, I remember, it's a little bit different now, but I remember coming back to Sydney like 3 years ago and being super impressed with, I felt like a much smaller community, but at least at that time, there were a few people pushing it, like really trying to make content, do the hardest stuff they could. Some were gunning for like a bit of a career from parkour. Some people were making a bit of money.
Yeah.
So that was like, Dom, Kadori, Tristan, Danny, yourself. Like, there was a small group that were out just hustling. Like, how do you feel like that is now in terms of like the people like yourself that want to go out and not just go out and have fun, but really push, get clips, like, and train as hard as they can?
Well, I mean, anyone watching this podcast from a couple of years in the future, just remember, just look at the timestamp. At this current point in time, hardly anyone's pushing at all from Australia. Which,
so it's a good, vibrant community of regular participation, but in terms of like really
what
pushing
you were
the
just
limits,
talking about, with the whole going out, hunting things, getting clips, making money from parkour, few and far between right now.
Right.
Very few and far between. Which is why I sort of took it upon myself to start traveling and things like that, because I saw an opening. Yeah. Because no Aussies are doing that.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah,
no one's doing that. With obviously the exception to Dom. Anyone listening to this podcast knows who Dom is. But at the moment, he just had surgery. So in all honesty,
like 2 days ago, he had surgery.
Yeah, there's no one really pushing it at the moment. It's just the current climate of
but
training.
there's a new generation loading, right?
Most certainly. And those kids that are coming up, they are very, very talented, but it's just the climate at the moment. they're not coming through. They're not coming out to training sessions.
Some of them are from like outside Sydney as well. Obviously, it's harder to get around in Australia. It's like a really big country.
Yeah, you gotta drive. You gotta drive everywhere.
Yeah, and so some of them are a bit too young for that. But that's good. I feel like there's a good community, a good basis, and then loading a new generation. Like yesterday, you guys showed me the Bushbound video, which are these guys from the Blue Mountains. And it's funny because they've all been training for like 2 years, but you can tell they're completely inspired by Capstone because they're all just doing these massive splats and stuff that like would have taken people a decade of training beforehand to do. But they're just on this big full send, quite frankly, Australian style of parkour, which, you know, we've become quite known for. Yeah. So, I mean, it's exciting to see where people are coming through.
Yeah, and you know, I like to try and mentor them when I can, because just like you said, that took those guys a whole decade before they were doing those things. So it's important to pace yourself and make sure you're doing the right thing to what your body's saying.
Some of it's dangerous for sure.
Because otherwise you're just going backwards, right? Yeah. And what's the point of that? But yeah, those guys, there's inspiration everywhere. Shout out Bushbound.
Yeah.
Shout out
Bushbound. Shout out Soup Gang, who are from Perth, but they're constantly putting out good projects. There's some good talent loading, and it's exciting to see. Yeah. And that's what you need. The sport's in a good place when you know the next generation's pushing. Yeah. You know, which we talked about for the first time in like since almost the start of the sport, is lacking a little bit in London, but up in North in the UK, we've got some people really loading, like you know, your John Cleaves, your Grim Jam guys, and so on. Yeah. Team Reality. So yeah, but talk to me about that, because you just, you know, you said, well, now you've come out, you're doing these big trips. What's it been like for you trying to balance parkour and adult life? Because obviously you like have a career, you work very hard. Like, well, firstly, what do you do for a living?
So I'm a carpenter. Like, I'm a full-time carpenter builder, fully qualified.
Problem solver, mate.
Problem solver. Yes. Yeah,
because I actually really enjoy Fletch makes some content, some like TikTok content basically of like his tradesman work, and it's usually come in and like he's got to solve a problem, or like, I don't know, re-roof something, or it's always something different, right?
Yeah, every day is different. That's why I love my job, because no day is the same. It is constant problem solving. It's very similar to parkour. I think that's why I like the job, because no day is the same, and we do a whole variety of different construction sort of skill trees, and I really like that. I love the ability to be adaptable and overcome situations where other blokes would just give a really high quote and piss off and not do anything, because it's just too much effort. Yeah. Whereas my boss has taught me really well to just go for it. Yeah, and
then it's satisfying in the end, because you're solving a problem. You're not just repeating the same kind of stuff. Yep. Yeah, brilliant. The other thing we need, because I know you started, when's the tradie, so tradie's like a tradesman, it's an Australian word for it. When's the tradie parkour video coming out?
Oh, man, we are, okay, so there's a history with that. Me and my really good friend, Aaron Schroeder, we had an idea to make a tradie parkour video.
Is that what he does for a living as well?
Yeah, he's a plumber.
He's
a fully qualified plumber. Cool. So he gets it.
This is Aaron, who did the massive running splat to the tree in Capstone, for anyone that doesn't know that.
In Capstone Oath, yeah.
Capstone Oath, yeah.
The ender clip for Capstone Oath, that was him. And he's actually, he's a full-time plumber. Okay. And so him and I, we've been mates for ages, forever. Yeah. And we had this great idea to do a construction video. And the first clip that I went out to get, I absolutely destroyed myself. Yeah. The clip has done the numbers, it's done the rounds, and essentially I was doing a running pre to this timber pylon in the water, and I came up short and basically ripped the ligament in my foot.
Damn, what was the recovery like on that?
A really long time.
Oh, okay, so it's probably not worth it, because it wasn't just like dressing up like tradesmen, like they.
I had boots on.
You were doing boots, in work boots, which is pretty hardcore. Like, this is a heavy job.
Silly.
Yeah, silly.
Very silly.
So if you were gonna do it again, you'd wear sneakers then, like training shoes.
I had actually done the jump before.
In
normal jogs. So anyway, very silly. Lesson learnt.
I still want to see the video. Just wear joggers. It's fine. That'd be so funny.
Anyway, so that happened. I'm not eager to do a construction video anytime soon.
Okay. Understandable. No, I enjoyed it though. So but talk to me about that, because I remember you'd come out training when you could, basically any spare time you had, but you were always working like crazy hours. Yeah. And then at one point you were like, you made the decision to switch things up. So I guess what was the work-life training balance before, and then why did you decide to like, all right, I'm going to stop working for a little bit and go traveling?
The work-life training before there was no balance. It was either one or the other. The more I worked, the more my training would suffer. The more I trained, the more my work would suffer. So it was really a constant tug and pull as to which basket I wanted to put my eggs into. Right now, obviously, I have stepped back from working full time and I'm just traveling and doing parkour as much as I can. But before, earlier this year and the 7 years prior working full time, it was just long days, big hours, and always being a cheerleader from the sidelines of watching my friends do really well and all that sort of stuff. And just having patience, knowing that one day I'll do it. And that one day has sort of come. I'm just like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
So you took that work ethic, those savings and everything, that energy, and just put it into the sport.
Yeah.
And it shows, man, because like the uptick you've had this year has been sensational, and the amount of like high level movement you're getting out is awesome. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, of course. And so like, what's the plan now? Is it to try and do the European summers and then work the rest of the year, or?
At the moment, we're sitting in September.
Yep.
For the rest of this year, I'm just going to keep traveling wherever I can.
Oh, really?
Wherever people are jumping, I'm just going to keep traveling. I'm currently hurt my foot.
Yeah, wait, so what's the story there? Because he's coming here on crutches, and like you've been training every day on some unbelievable level and haven't managed to get any injuries. So how did you get this one?
So I have hurt myself playing football. Literally. So the Storror guys in Brighton had a football event a couple of days ago, and I got subbed in for Team Brighton on a whim, last minute, and to no fault but my own. Literally, first 15 seconds stepping onto the court, I contested this ball, and this guy had way more of his foot onto it, and he slammed that ball, and my good foot, paraphrasing there, got caught, and it just pinged off my foot, and my foot has been, just red hot ever since. I can't, still can barely walk on it. Very silly. Very silly considering, like what you said, I've been training non-stop for the last 3 months with no accumulated injuries. And then now I step onto a football court and I destroy my foot, potentially ruining... Well, it's ruined. I can't train for the rest of this trip. So as soon as I can walk, I'm going to go back home and get it sorted.
Yeah, man.
As soon as possible.
It's so unfortunate. Like, it's the worst thing. I've also been injured on trips before. And I got injured on Schlappen Tour this year and came back after 1 week, which is really sad. I'm only just walking again myself. But that's football, mate. Football!
I know.
It's so bad.
I'm fuming.
Yeah, no, that sucks. Obviously, you've come like a really long way.
And
when you say you were training every day, like have a look at his Instagram. Every post is just... He's done every challenge ever. So like the work rate is so high. Like, So the comparison I always make is Ed Scott, just purely because his work rate is also so high, and he'll go out and he'll get like 100 clips in a day, and you do the same thing. And not that many people have the drive or even the capacity to kind of work that hard and consistently. So that's been sick to watch, man. I hope this foot gets sorted out. I mean, I hope, I don't know, I think this trip, it's a little bit cooked, but maybe in like a month or something, you'll be back to training. I'm hoping it's not too bad.
Yeah. When's winter in England?
Like, well, for me, there's only two seasons, summer and winter. So winter started.
Winter has started?
No, so autumn started.
No.
Like autumn just started.
Right.
But yeah, for me, it's June, July, August is we're loving it, and the rest of the year, like I don't want to be here, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But it could always be worse. People live in Scotland, so like.
I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved with that beef.
So you've been killing it this last like year because of that reason. So what do you I guess aside from the like just putting more time into it, what do you attribute like a lot of your progression to? Like the people you're training with, like I don't know, what do you think helps you improve a lot in the sport?
Inspiration is everywhere. It is not hard to find. There is endless amounts of content, YouTube videos, Instagram videos of people doing cool things, and I love it. I can't get enough. I'm always...
It's true. It's true. You are. You're at my house and you're watching like
always
old
consuming.
SPO and like just always watching
yeah.
parkour content. I
Always.
think that's what it is, man. The level of passion and drive you have right now is just like limitless.
And it's always been that way. I've driven every girlfriend I've ever had. I've driven them nuts.
I know about that one, brother.
I've driven them nuts.
The other woman, parkour. That's what my girlfriend calls it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I've actually never put it like that before, but that's probably true, and that's how they felt. Anyway, that's a different conversation.
That's a whole different conversation. But no, yeah, that's how you show you're dedicated, you're obsessed, you know, for better or for worse. Like
it's an addiction.
Yeah, man.
It's an addiction to the point where, like, when I was just in Brighton, I knew almost everyone that was sort of in that Brighton circle, even though, you know, they might not post that much on Instagram or things like that, but I just know when I see people's clips, I'm like, who's filming this? Who's this guy hanging out with? Like, who are these cliques sort of thing? It's sort of weird in a way, right? So like when I go to all these places in America, even to Spain, you know, Paris, like I know these people, but only through
content, yeah.
Through a virtual lens, but I'm just addicted to the sport, similar to Dom. I think that's why Dom and I get along so well, because he's just as addicted. Yeah,
he's always had this relentless drive and passion. And the thing with Dom, like, he's got a really strong mental game and good impact taking ability, but his actual like talent in terms of skill was never that high. Like he was never super talented, like autonomous mover. The thing is, he really loved it, and he had such a passion for it, and he trained every day, and then he had a good mental game. And so I think most people's progression, the way I tend to describe Dom, right? Most people's progression goes up and down, and they have like really good time, and they have like a pause. His progression was almost linear, but for years, but just better, slowly. Yeah. So yeah, it's sick to be around people like that. And I'm like that too. Like I'm so invested in the sport, so like such a fan of the sport. Yeah. You know what I mean? In addition to that, so I guess, with that's just kind of the number one, isn't it? Like for improving.
Most certainly, that's why I'm paying thousands of dollars to travel around to all these places just to meet these people that, you know, there's a reason why you have been in the sport for so long. There's a reason why these athletes have been pushing the sport for so long. There's something in them that just keeps them driving. And for so long, that was in me. And I've sort of felt like a weirdo for it. But when I went to, when I went to OMFG, that was...
Yeah, what was that like, just meeting people? Because as an Australian, it's a bit more overwhelming. Like I remember when I made this film project Next Gen, and this guy Sammy had never left Australia, and he came out for this.
Sam, I love you.
Shout out Sammy, we absolutely love him. He came out, threw down, but he'd never left Australia, and then suddenly he was around like 60 of Europe's best parkour athletes. Whereas if you already live in Europe, it's like cool, you just catch like a 2-hour flight, and then there's everyone there. Yeah. So I don't know what as an Australian, what is that like? Like, what was that like? OMFG, you're suddenly in this amazing place surrounded by like all the top athletes you've looked up to.
Yeah.
Like, how'd you find that experience?
It's really hard to put into words, man, without making it sound cliche, but it's really cool. Yeah. So cool, you know?
But you also got stuck right in there. So you straight away training with Phil and just doing these awesome challenges with people and just really getting involved. Like,
yeah. I met everyone for the first time pretty much there. OMFG is a really big event that happens in Norway, which...
It's the gold standard right now.
It is the biggest parkour event on the planet.
Yeah, and it's the best organized. Like, it's definitely the best event for sure.
Definitely.
Not like competition, but event. Like,
Yeah, and every man and their parkour dog goes there. I'm telling you, and
their mum, which we recently had. Joel and Zoe Rodkin on the podcast, and they went out together. Yeah,
that's sick. That's sick. I probably saw them, but just
yeah.
So many people, so many faces. Man, my voice hurt just because I was yapping to so many people. Yeah. But you know, to go from watching Matthias Mayer on YouTube for so long, and then to be training right next to him, really cool. And then for these people to be coming up to me and asking me how I do things, is like, no, this is not how that's works. That's not how it works, mate. Bro. Like, I'm just trying to imitate you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's cool really because you've not just come out like super early into the game. Like, people already have like a good respect for what you've achieved in the sport. You know what I mean? So it's cool to go out there like as like really a peer. You know what I mean? And train with the top level athletes and do similar challenges and stuff. Like, Yeah, I mean, it must feel cool to feel like really like you're in there, like you're part of the community, like you're a real contributor to it, right?
Yeah, it feels amazing. It's all realistically, it's all I've ever wanted. Going back to talking about Sydney Parkour, I wanted to be included in that community because I'm like, this is really cool. I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And then from then on, it was like, well, now internationally, I want to be part of that community because I feel like there's a big difference between, you know, going out training locally and then being a part of this international sort of clique that I'm sort of finding out.
There are a lot of people that will travel to these events regularly.
Yeah.
And then so you do become part of that community just by seeing them at enough events.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And you do, there is just certain like, it's almost a bit like euphoric. Like when you're at these events, you just feel sick. Like you just feel good like all the time. And you just, it's such a strong vibe, like so positive. Yeah, man, that's lovely. So that was your first big one. What
first time traveling, overseas.
First time traveling overseas.
Sorry, first time traveling to Europe for parkour. Not overseas for parkour, but to Europe for parkour. And this is the first time that I'm in the UK.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Mate, unreal. We've got to get you down to IMAX.
I just want to see it, even though I definitely can't train.
Yeah.
But I just want to see it.
And then what's the goal when you're traveling? It seems like right now just to stack up the clips, right?
Just film everything, do everything, just
do every challenge ever.
I'm here for a reason, and that's just to do parkour. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I respect the focus as well. Like, you've obviously come out here really driven, and it is just training all day. You know what I mean? Like a bit of socializing here and there, but you're not too concerned about like even going out for a beer or whatever. You're just like,
I'll go all day. I'll train from dusk till dawn. Yeah,
and this is why the Ed's Got comparisons come out, because I think it's quite valid. Also, speaking of Ed, like he won the Male of the Year last year, and he's won it a few times. Who would you say is like looking strong for some of the Storror Awards this year?
I don't know, because it's really up to them and what's in their sort of line of sight.
It is their competition.
It's their awards.
It's their awards, so it's who they want to give it to. Yeah, because for Male of the Year, I'm not sure at the moment, but I feel like Travis, when he drops this capstone project, which I think is finished now because he got injured, and he said he was going to film for the rest of the summer and then release it.
Right.
So I think he might take it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then again, like a lot of them were involved in the filming of that, so there is, and they do love giving it just to UK people. But it's their competition, so they can do that. Like fair enough. You know what I mean?
Right to do that.
But it's a good point. It's a good point. Like the French usually kick up a little fuss, and they're like, oh, the English awards are on again. But look, they're the only ones doing it.
We'll
like
make your own awards then.
Precisely. No, it's a great way to put it, because that was a leading question though, because for me, breakout athlete on the women's side is quite clearly Martita. I think she's absolutely killing it. I think there's no question that she's the breakout. You could even say female of the year, but because she's just popped off this year, if it's not woman of the year, it's breakout. I would say the same for you on the male side. So it's got to depend, what they see and how the rest of the year folds, because the end of the year is very important for these awards. But the work rate you've put out, and because you've really popped off on the scene this year specifically on the international scale, my pick would be you for breakout. Obviously, I'm biased though, but the fact that you come out to their event helps. It really helps. Like a Wizzy won Team of the Year after coming to the Suicide Wall as well and throwing down.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they see you in person and like
it all helps. Like
it
I
all
said,
helps,
it's
bro.
their awards. So if you're in their line of sight, then it helps your chances
massively.
Win,
so there's never any guarantees, but my vote as of now would be you for breakout and potentially Mayor of the Year, but at the breakout at the minimum. But you never know what's gonna happen in it. Like,
there's a lot of other hardworking individuals that deserve that title over me. For sure.
No question. There's a lot of people throwing down, but off the top of my head, who's popped off this year specifically? I'm trying to think. There are people. There are people, but it's a hard question. Hey,
Thomas.
Toma, but it's not just this year. Orlando and Toma are both definitely in the running for Male of the Year for sure.
Ellis for sure, come on.
Ellis is always in the running for Male of the Year. But breakout, you're the only one that comes to mind. Seabay's in the running for Male of the Year.
Killing it.
I'm trying to think. Obviously, breakout athlete's quite a specific one. That's why I keep thinking of you. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And they sometimes switch up the awards and do different ones each year. Yeah. But no, I'm excited about that. I think the Storror Awards is always a bit of fun.
It is a bit of fun. It is.
My team always tries to win Team of the Year. And because, we obviously make by far the most video content of anyone, because we are the like have the biggest, like
Yeah.
they do it full time, right? And I join them sometimes. The most valid, this is Friedrich Schlappen from Germany. The most valid criticism is, of course, that a lot of it isn't parkour, which is a very valid criticism. But and so last year I think we were the front runners, and then we lost out to Keeper or something at the last minute. But we'll see what happens this year, because there aren't that many teams that are going that hard.
I don't know. Is it a hot take for me to say that I don't think not a lot has happened this year in terms of, in comparison to the last 4 years? This year's sort of been a bit of a sleeper for a lot of teams.
I
Like
agree.
not a lot of teams doing a lot of stuff. I know you went on
Teams
that
definitely.
Schlappland tour. I know you.
Yeah,
you
we
went
do
on
that every year, and so the video will come out, and like, if no one else is doing anything significant, I think we might have to take it by default, because we do the tour every year, and we go as hard as we can every year.
Oh no, I'm capping. I got to take back what I said. There's been a lot of cool video parts that have come out, especially from the Commons as well. Like
The Commons have killed it. So the Commons the last 2 years, this is the American guys out of Boston who run this sort of video platform. They've won favorite flavor, which is solo video of the year the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, and that's like 100%. That was with Maven, and then with, thank you for reminding me.
I think that was Manor.
So Mana make the videos, and they go on
They're
the Commons. They're like the same thing almost. Like they're not, but they've been killing it. So, but I kind of get what you mean. It's almost a bit of a sleeper year this year. In terms of best male, maybe Toma.
Yeah.
And then on the women's side, like Martita is the one that comes to mind the most. But Agnes is absolutely killing it as well. She could definitely get Woman of the Year.
Lilu's always just smashing it.
Lilu, yeah, exactly. You almost forget it, but people like Lilu and Ellis, they're so good that you get desensitized to it. And you kind of forget
How
that
crazy though, eh?
You do. You kind of forget that they're like just front runners, because you're like, oh, that's just them. That's just a standard Ellis clip or a standard Lilu
Ellis
clip.
is awesome
But they're
all the time.
so good. You just get used to it.
I never get used to it. I love it.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. I mean, we could nerd out about this all the time, but
I feel like we could. I feel like
yeah.
This podcast could go down to like its own award ceremony.
Yeah. It'd be sick. I'd love to do some more little awards, man. But that would be a fun thing to do one day with PKUK if possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the Storror Awards, and that was just my 2 cents on if they do the breakout award. I think there's a good argument to be made. But that said, you need to get your foot together and get some clips, because the back end of the year is the most important almost.
Yeah.
And then you need to release an annual compilation at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like on YouTube or something, because it's easy to watch, because it helps people recap for sure.
Just need to get my foot better. Don't play any more football, mate.
Yeah.
Wow.
No more football. Yeah, football is obviously like the most dangerous sport in the world.
It is. It is the most dangerous sport in the world. I've got so much left to give, and it was taken away from me.
Yeah, no, that's
Anyway,
not good.
Whatever.
So a question we always ask on the pod, and we tend to get some pretty interesting answers, is what are the best transferable skills that you've got from parkour that you can bring into like other aspects of life?
I can only sort of respond to that by saying how it helped my career in construction.
Oh yeah.
It went hand in hand. I took bits from parkour and helped it in construction. I mean, from a very obvious standpoint, I was more agile on the site, which does help.
Well, it's a very physical job, yeah.
It is a physical job, and to move with pace means that you get the job done quicker, you get paid more. So and that helped in that regard. And I was doing crazy hours, 14-hour days, 16-hour days, consistently, and to have that sort of to have that capacity to keep going helped in my parkour as well. Yeah. So now when I'm out on the town, training for 8 hours straight isn't hard for me at the moment. I know I'm young, I'm 22, I've got youth on my side, but I still have built up that capacity for training. Yeah.
And that is extremely rare. Because like I think that the normal thing with parkour is when you're a kid, you train all day, but you're not doing super high intense movements, right? But to be able to train at a very high level all day is extremely rare, to be honest. And so the fact that you've developed that's the Ed Scott effect that we're talking about. Like
certainly.
You've developed that is really incredible. So you attribute a lot of that to your work.
Yes, and I've worked very, very hard. My boss, I owe him the world. He's done a lot for me, and he's taught me a lot of valuable lessons just in terms of your character and being able to make the most out of a situation and understanding that nothing is a given and you must get it. The fish don't hop in the boat. You got to go after it. You got to grab it.
So it's a two-way street.
Otherwise, someone will. So,
like you've got a lot from your job that you've transferred into parkour and vice versa.
Yeah.
That's well interesting. Yeah, so this is what, like 13th, 14th pod, like another new answer to this question. The gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, no, that's brilliant, man. Like,
off the top of my head, that's what I can think of.
Mate, no, 100%. And so where do you feel like we're at now with parkour as a sport, and like where do you want to see it? You know what I mean? Because we're still like super small. There's little to no sort of financial opportunity in the sport. Like, yeah, I'm curious. How do you view it now?
I think I think parkour will never achieve proper success on the level as skateboarding and other Olympic sports, because unfortunately the people that train this beautiful sport can't agree on what it actually is.
In terms of what?
In terms of what it is we actually want to represent ourselves as.
Yeah.
Do you want to represent it as a sport, or do you want to represent it as a discipline? Do you want to represent it as an art, or do you want to represent it as a business? It's, and it can be all of them rolled into one, but all it takes is, a good segment of the community to say, well, no, we don't agree with that. And then it's just, the conversation happens over again. It started with free running and parkour. The separation there.
Yeah, I feel like that debate has kind of just been put to bed now, right?
It has been put to bed, but there's still people that, the term like parkour purist gets thrown around. Yeah. And then people like free running's flips, parkour is like, efficient movement. Like, come on, man. Like, we're past that. It's all one thing. It is one thing, but the problem with it being one thing is that if you open up that umbrella too much, it can allow, another ray gun situation.
Yeah. Obviously, Ray Gunn being the Australian breakdancer who competed in breakdancing in the Olympics.
Who did something that was, objectively lame, but might have been acceptable inside that sport.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one.
Well, that's the other interesting thing as well, with the definition of parkour is constantly expanding, right?
Yeah.
So people are constantly experimenting and then dipping in and out of areas where like it might be considered parkour, it might not. So obviously the stuff Matt McCreary does, he doesn't actually claim it to be parkour, I don't believe. It's a lot of interpretive dance stuff. But because he was such an impressive parkour athlete, a lot of people are like upset that he's doing this.
For some reason, people took offense to it.
People took offense to him.
Wants, mate.
He can do what he wants, and like I suppose you might have a level of justification taking offense to interpretive dance if he called it parkour, but he doesn't. He just calls himself a movement artist and does what he wants.
Yeah.
But that said, it is constantly expanding, and so all those things you mentioned are all constantly happening. And do you feel like the sport is going to move off into a few different directions, like kind of split off? So you've got like the competition guys, like and then you got the more like creative, like dance influenced people, and the people that are, I don't know, anti-competition, or the people that are more focused on creating like something they consider artistic. Do you feel like it's going to break off into strands? Because right now those strands exist, but we're still one community.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. Everyone still mingles together, but
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe,
I think if competition gets a lot more serious, and if we're in the Olympics or there's real money in it, that's going to happen on the competition side, I think.
A divide?
Not a divide is strong, but we're going to have people that are just entirely focused on competing and not so much on engaging with the rest of the community. I think that might happen. Hot take. What do you think?
It's just a take. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's just it's a prediction.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to predict what's going to happen. Yeah. But it's too hard to say. I'm sure there's examples of other sports. I'm just not too well researched in it.
There are definitely, like you've got obviously like skateboarding, a similar thing happened, and then like with BMX and being in the cycling federation, and you got parkour in the gymnastics federation, and like snowboarding at the skiing federation and stuff like that. When on the FIG side of things, the competition side of things, and then people saying when skateboarding comes, what happening is getting into the Olympics. People saying this is a street sport, this is it, this is that, and then although that said, on the skating side, like the top competitive skaters still kind of do both. They still go on the street, so maybe it's not as dire. But there are probably some who just train for it. So I basically, my point is inevitably as something grows and expands and there's real money and real, like it becomes really competitive, people get more and more into their like specific niche. But as long as it's not about sort of bringing down the other side. You know what I mean? Disparaging each other. Like
certainly.
as long as each different like style of the discipline can respect each other, I guess it's okay. But yeah, I guess where do you want to see the sport? You know, what opportunities, financial interests? How do you want to see the community? Like, what would be ideal for you?
I want there to be I'd like to order, please, a way for, so let me start with this. So what I was talking about before with Alex Robinson, Conquest Parkour.
Yeah.
That is where a kid gets introduced to parkour. And then from there, a kid will go into the community where, in my case, Carl, Sydney Parkour, would foster that and make sure that they're looked after in that community. But then if they want to keep on going as a professional, where do they go? There's no clear outline. And for so many years, the response from all the pros in our sport was, well, there's not really a rule book, there's no outline, you just sort of got to ride the wave. And
that means what, like making content and like...
And that's terrible advice. Even though it did work for them, it's terrible advice. Yeah. So I got a qualification before I started traveling because I wanted a backup. I wanted a plan B. I didn't want to just put all my eggs in one basket.
For sure.
So if something does happen to me physically, I can always still make money. But that's a completely separate conversation. I would like there to be organizations, especially in Australia, but around the world. Europe seems to have a bit more money behind the economy. But I'd like there to be more organizations that can hold events and a stable way for athletes to make an income through sponsorships from
events like competitions,
competitions, pop-up things, and investments, large investments into sponsoring people for the benefit of the company.
So essentially we need more Red Bulls, right? Red Bull's the only company in the history of the sport who's consistently showed a financial interest in parkour.
And they take care of their
sponsors some athletes, take care of them. They run some events. They're not perfect, but we need more consistent financial interest in the sport, right? Okay. And what do you think could make that happen? Like
people that have, really... people that have good contacts that are willing to invest into parkour. And that is very few and far between.
I feel like parkour is almost like a marketing, sector of a company will be like, oh, we should do this. And they'll get like a parkour athlete and they'll show it off a bit, but it's always like an afterthought. So we need to almost be like in the zeitgeist as like a key option. Yeah. And then, maybe being in the Olympics or having like really strong like competitions or somewhere that you can really get the athletes out there might help that. I think it's also because we're so like outside of like the sports system. Like I do athletics with these kids and like some of them are really good. One of them was like the under 20 like hurdle champion and he's sponsored by Adidas now, right? Mad. Just for his presence at these competitions in what is still like a relatively low funded sport. He's got like 2,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. So it's not at all his following. It's not his side of things. They just want someone that's going to be on the podium of one of these competitions to be wearing their stuff. And he gets paid for that, right? Whereas like in parkour, because you can't just come to someone and be like, oh, I'm like a world champion. And you can if you're an Ellis or something, but then they'll look into it and be like, well, is it the official world champs? What is this? But I think the lack of like a system makes it difficult. So the way people have done it, like your Storrors and Dom and stuff, is just by running up the numbers online and then doing it that way and getting a company to, like Joe Scandred, with Boohoo Man, he got a couple of paid Boohoo Man posts, did really well, and they just kept him on, So
unfortunately, and then so say someone in a localized community wants to go that next step and be more serious and be a professional athlete. The options are limited. I'm not going to go through and list all of them but they're still limited and they're not going to set you up for your future, unfortunately. It's a gain now for you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot for your future. There's nothing that will set you up as good as Red Bull. We need more Red Bulls.
So like a Red Bull sponsorship is like the ultimate thing, but short of that, there's no like systematic approach, to becoming like a professional parkour athlete. So I guess we need more opportunities for that, either by competitions that are big enough and paid enough where if you're one of the best in the world, that's your career, or like through your platform from doing amazing stuff on the street, you can make some money. And obviously we keep coming back to like in skating, they sell skateboards, they can sponsor athletes to sell the skateboards. We don't have that, so it's harder. But yeah, so essentially what you're saying is we need more financial interest in the sport.
Yep. But it's really hard because companies need to know what they're paying for, but they don't.
Exactly, they don't. Like, what am I paying for? Like, sick clips on the street, or like, you know what I mean?
What exactly are you going to do? What is parkour? And then we say, well, it's this, and then the rest of the community says, not really. So I know a lot of professional guys. If you're listening to this, like you argue on what I just said on like making it as a professional athlete, but I'm more than happy to have a conversation.
I think most of them agree with you in terms of like how difficult it is and how like there's no like single feasible route to doing it.
It just can't set you up for your future. And I know I sound like an old man saying that, but it's just the reality that I unfortunately have to tell a lot of young people coming up that, you know, this is the reality. If you're fine with that, then that's okay. But, you know, for me, just to go on this venture to around the world and do whatever the heck I want, yes, I saved up a lot of money, but I've also shot myself in the foot. I mean, it's probably better than what I did with football. Would have rather that. Anyway, I've shot myself in the foot for my future. I have given up my future. I could have bought a house. I didn't. Instead, I went and traveled the world doing
parkour. So spending your money just doing what you love when you're not going to see a financial return on that necessarily. You're just doing it because you love it. Yeah, okay. So that's totally understandable. So you want that additional financial interest in the sport and like an actual route, something to tell the kids that are striving for it.
Yeah.
Like this is where you can take it, because the only like proven, and only a couple of people have really done it, like successful route to really make a strong living from it is to become an entertainer, which at the end of the day, you're not making a living as an athlete, you're making a living as an entertainer. And then, and you're compromising on the athletic stuff you're doing. Like, you know, my boys Ferning Schlapp, and they make a good living from YouTube now, but you know, parkour is like a minority of what they do. They do a lot of stunts. They do a lot of like, funny, like entertaining things. They do some cliff jumping and stuff as well. Even the Storror guys have to, for a while they didn't, which was really cool when they didn't have to. But now they massively compromise on what they do. They do the pit escapes, you know. They do the water challenges, which is sick parkour.
Still have respect for that, though.
I have massive respect. Yeah, but they are playing the game, is my point. So you have to play the game. You're not just like going out doing this your sickest thing, and then someone from Thrasher's going to go out and take a photo of and put it on the cover of the magazine. You know what I mean? It's a different system. So yeah, I agree. More financial interest in the sport. And hopefully with Parkour UK, we're going to play a role in that. We're going to try and put together some bigger competitions, try to grow that side of things. And then when we have that proof of concept, gauge financial interest. And then if we can get some real eyes behind it, some real companies behind it, then go from there. Because that obviously it happened like in like the early days of parkour, some call it the golden era, where there was this sudden uptick in financial interest. So you had the Barclays card, this massive event on South Bank, which was kind of like the first Rebel Art of Motion almost.
Sick.
And by Barclays Bank, but then they left parkour after that, you know what I mean? And you had like parkour people in like the J-Lo music video, Catch Me If You Can, which was like 700 million views and stuff, like Casino Royale, you know? So there was this sudden interest, and then it kind of died off. So I guess, how are we going to do that? We need good people making incredible content that really gets out there, I guess, because I guess people like Dom and Joe Scandrett and stuff help, because they do incredible stuff on the street, and then hopefully some company somewhere is like, oh, we need this person. They're amazing. Like in terms of feasibility. And then the other side of it is to grow the competition side of things. Because like something like SPL, grassroots competition, amazing, yeah. But the viewership is entirely in the parkour community.
Yes.
Like they don't get more than 10,000 views on their YouTube videos, you know, of the competitions. So it's finding a way to make the world fans of parkour, and then getting people more involved. But participation helps as well.
Yeah, most certainly. Trying to make it more accessible for new people coming in as well is a big
accessibility. One. That's probably the biggest thing we do here at Parkour UK is try and increase accessibility, try to get parkour in schools. You know, we're going to work on trying to get some parkour parks built and stuff. Like that's the keys. More people doing the sport, more eyes on the sport, then more money will come to the sport. Right.
I think in Sydney, for some reason, we have a lot of parkour parks. We've been given a lot. I think we've got 8
recently
or 9.
as well. In the last like 5-10 years,
we've got 8 or 9.
That's awesome, because when I was training in Sydney, there was 0.
None.
Yeah.
There would have been none. So we've been blessed with that.
Why do you think that's happened? Have people been petitioning councils, or they've seen like a potential in it? Like...
The councils have engaged a couple people, including me and designers, to make these parks because they see parkour in the same light as like a skate park. So
yeah, exactly, and it's cheaper actually.
Yeah, same light as skateboarding and scooter riding. Because it's all street sports, so they want to contain to one area, and they put these parks in generally a little bit more rundown suburbs, where kids are usually, on the streets running amok. They want a place for them to congregate and also learn new skills.
Absolutely. It's good that they see an interest in it, and so I wonder what's put it on their radar. Maybe it is people like Dom to even... Because a lot of time councils don't even think of it, you know what I mean? So that's why we need to approach them. But they've approached you guys, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, that's awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. And then so you're talking about, obviously, you're spending this money. You're absolutely, well, until you played the football, obviously, you've been absolutely killing it, getting your clips, really living it up, enjoying the parkour life. But what are your goals with it? Like, in terms of like what we just talked about, you're going to try and make money for it? Or you're just trying to like do the best stuff you can, then go back to, fixing your roofs and stuff. Like where are you trying to take your own parkour journey? What's the goal there?
At the moment, I want to see what I can get up to. I want to see what I can do if I'm just consistent.
Yep.
And then I'll move into a stage of trying to be a professional athlete to make money from parkour. And then if that doesn't work, I'm more than happy to go back to my job. Sweet. More than happy to do that. Because I would have much rather have tried this than not. I just know the realities. And my lifestyle that I like to uphold, I don't think I'll have enough capital from parkour to sustain that.
Yeah.
Sure. So I might have to make that sacrifice there at some point to keep up the lifestyle that I enjoy.
Yeah. And with your boss, like, you'd be able to pick up working for them again.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'll be a subcontractor. The main thing is just having enough time to train. So now, instead of being a full-time employee, I'll work as a subcontractor. So I'm not legally bonded to work 40 hours a week with him, even though it's way more than that. But I can work under him as a subcontractor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's the best boss in the world.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant that you can do that. Because, I mean, we had the FemGaps girls on and we talked about this, but basically anyone who's serious about being an athlete in almost any sport has to figure out some kind of part-time work situation, unless, of course, they're making a living from the sport. But, like, you've got 11,000 athletes in the Olympics. Only a tiny percentage of them actually make a living from the sport, right?
Yeah.
It's an amateur event, the Olympics. And so, I work freelance. I do it part-time. So that's the plan, like, would be to go back to work and negotiate a schedule where you can kind of do a bit of both. Yeah,
for sure. And I'm never going to compromise myself for a paycheck. So if an opportunity comes up, but it's not really what I want to do, which is I just want to train. I want to document me training, and I want to inspire other people to train. That is all I want to do. Yeah. If that doesn't align with my morals and my compasses, I just won't do it.
Oh, you mean if like desperate. A company that came to you and was like, you didn't like the company or something?
I'm not desperate. And a couple opportunities have come up within the last couple of months, and I'm just not desperate. Companies are expecting me to be on my hands and knees. That I want this job so bad. No, if it doesn't smell right, I don't want it, mate. I don't need you. I've got my own way to sort myself out.
It's good to be in a position where you can walk away.
Yes, most certainly. And unfortunately, a lot of guys that are trying to make it, they sell themselves short. They don't charge the right amount of money for a gig, and they allow the companies to walk all over them, pretty much. No, for sure. Unfortunately.
It is unfortunate because people are desperate, and I get contacted maybe every couple of months for a job in the UK, and I set my rate. It's not crazy, but it's a good rate, and I never get them. There's a lot of people in the UK, but like it is what it is. Like I don't want to go like on a train up to Leeds and do parkour all day on a shoot for £200. Like I can make a living as a filmmaker. Yeah, so that's it. You know your worth. You know.
I know my worth.
For sure. And then in terms of like the route to potentially making a bit of money from parkour, are you looking specifically to just let's grow the Instagram numbers and get like a Boohoo Man or something? To
Sponsorship.
Yeah, to sponsorship through that. Are you looking to do a bit of YouTube or like anything in that regard?
I would eventually like to. I mean, now that I have more free time, yeah, YouTube is definitely on the cards.
Cool.
To what type of content I would make would be very similar to what I'm doing now on Instagram, which is just training vlogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just obviously with a bit more story, talking to the camera, like like Ed does. You know, he does a bit of that, and I feel like you're. I did it a bit at one point, the vlogs, but it's really hard energy-wise to do the vlogging and to train as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like someone like you, Dom, have the energy capacity to actually do that.
Yeah, you need a lot of energy.
You need a lot of energy. It takes a lot. Like Trav does some of them perform well. So yeah, okay, cool. I'd like to see that, man. I watch the vlogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough game. It's a tough nut to crack.
Most certainly. And then if I'm doing it and not enjoying it, I'm not desperate to go that route, if that makes sense. I'm really blessed. I'm very, very blessed in my position to be able to have these choices and things like that, which is why you don't see me rolling around on the floor when I hurt my foot. You know, I'm calm. It's okay. My life is really good. I'm really, really blessed and grateful for the life that I have. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sponsorship would be the way to go, because then it'd be a clear-cut, this is what you do, we like what you do, we're going to throw money at you to keep doing what you're doing and have us involved in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, just promote our product or whatever it is.
It's a very, very simple contract, which I think would work well for me.
Yeah, for sure. And how has the engagement been going on Instagram? But some of your stuff's been
great,
doing well, yeah?
Yeah, I got like millions of engagement at the moment, or whatever. Brilliant. I think the stat is, what is it? Reach? 1.8 million reach at the moment.
Okay, yeah,
which I think
brilliant.
is pretty good. Yeah.
I think that's, just the consistent grind as well of that. Like, you remember, for 7 odd years, Dom posted twice a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why everyone's like, I can't believe you post every day. I'm like, mate, Dom did this for years. Yeah. Dom did this for 8 years.
Dom did it twice a day for 8 years. And not everything popped off, but the consistency, the platform's respect, and then obviously you need the big sends and stuff. Like, probably the best example of really viral stuff is the stuff Joe does. The funny thing with really viral parkour is it's when it looks like it's not an athlete, when it looks like it's just a dude. Look at this dude jumping off a car park, you know? And that's literally what it is. And actually, it's an interesting point to bring up as well, because it hasn't dropped while this podcast is being recorded, but when it comes out, we would have already dropped the Bristol project, which is like a 20-minute video where we had Stanny, Travis, and Joe do some of the hardest stuff, and then we actually showed like the whole behind the scenes and showed that it's not just a dude jumping off a car park.
Awesome.
But so yeah, that'll be a good piece of content. Check it out if you haven't already on our YouTube, guys. Called the Bristol Project in all caps. But yeah, it's a funny game. But I'm glad you've had some success with it. And you know, if and when you do fail, if you get it up there, that stuff performs well.
Oh yeah, I fail a lot.
Yeah, the one of you falling off that like frame was crazy.
Yeah. Where my knee buckles.
Yeah. Lucky you got strong legs, mate. Yeah.
That's a funny one too.
Because you didn't get injured, right?
No, I was sweet.
Yeah, that's a joke, because everyone's like in the comments, everyone's talking about ACL and that. But yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, the most viewed reel ever on Instagram is a fail from Dom, our friend. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I did my ACL. I have done my ACL.
Really? When?
I've done my ACL twice.
What?
Yeah. Didn't you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Twice?
Ages ago, yeah. It was like there was a grassroots comp back in Australia, and it was the first time I met a lot of the Sydney people, actually. First time I met Dom, maybe. No. Oh, whatever. I did double full off a box and came down onto concrete. I landed it, but it just buckled my knee. Yeah. And then it popped out. Anyway, at that time, I had just started my apprenticeship. It was my first year, so I opted not to get surgery because I wanted to, show my boss I was showing up. I'm not just going to get injured the first day. It's not a good look. Yeah. So then I left it for a year. It started feeling okay. I'm like, okay, sweet. Let's get back into it now. And then I can show you the video later, but it's pretty crazy. Scoot double full again on grass, and I landed wrong. It just popped out, and the pop, you could hear it, like Kadori and some of my other mates, like Keegan, if you met Keegan, and Ben and stuff. Yeah. They were on the other side of the park, and they said they heard the pop, and it came out. And then after that time, I got surgery on it. And then after about 4 or 5 months, I was back.
5 months?
Yeah.
That's very quick recovery for an ACL.
Yeah, I came back very quick.
Wow.
I was a bastard.
Wow. Awesome. Oh, I mean, I didn't know that. That is some inspiration right there.
Yeah, my right knee.
Because the fact that you've done that comeback and got the absolute work ethic you have now, and the amount of just hard training you've been getting done, like, yeah, guys, check out FletchFlips on Instagram. It's been really impressive, and I hope you're back real soon.
I hope so too.
Yeah, man. But thanks for coming on. It's been cool. It's been good to have a very Aussie chat. I wonder. People probably tell me in person. I wonder if I sound a lot more Aussie. Whenever I speak to an Australian, I sound more Australian.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I do.
It fluctuates, hey.
Yeah,
I switch up a lot. Yeah, not like it just happens, not intentionally.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend notices it the most. It's really funny.
I get that. That's all right. That's fine.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't have too much pride about it. Like I just say what I want to say. But yeah, man, thanks so much for coming on, and check out FletchFlips on Instagram. I hope the YouTube's coming soon. And for anyone that wants to know about events, news, more content in our community, parkour.uk. We've got the best URL in the business. Jump on the website. Cheers.